where we have suppliers, so that we can be able to create supplier in our system. So in this case, what you're supposed to do is to come under suppliers. This is the supplier function. Once you click it, you get another function of entry, and you select it or you press enter on your keyboard, and this is a web page. Being a web page, it means that it will not open Oracle Forms. It will open on a browser, so that you can be able to create the supplier. So in this case, this is how the supplier creation or supplier page looks like. Supplier page, it has so many features, which some we don't use for the basic creation of a supplier, but as time goes by, you may find, based on the need of a business, based on a certain maybe business process, you may need to maintain or to use some features later in time. But in this case, for basic understanding of how to create a supplier, we only need to, once we have landed on this supplier page, you can see it has an icon here on the top showing that it is suppliers. Then below we have a function or a button, or let's call it a button, whereby you can click and start creating the supplier page, supplier profile. So in this case, we have create supplier. This is where you should click, and once you click it, the system will take you to create supplier page. Here there are several fields that you should provide information, but for the purpose of learning, we will not add other information because they are not mandatory. So the one that is mandatory is the one that has a asterisk, and that's the only thing that we provide, which is a organization name. In our case here, we will use the name. Let's give it the name Simba. Okay, Simba is our organization name, and we will not provide any other information. But for the purpose of doing real implementation, you're supposed to provide all the information if they have been provided to you by the client that you're implementing for. So in this case, once you have provided the organization name, go ahead and click apply. Once you click apply, the system will take you to another page which has several information or fields to select or provide information or data for. So something important to note is that once we clicked on apply, after providing the organization name, the system has assigned the supplier number. It has assigned the supplier number and also registry ID. But mostly when we are doing or we are conducting business, we work with supplier number. So also here you can be able to check box. There are several check boxes here which you can be able to check based on the requirements that you have gathered from the client. For instance, if there is purchase order holding, you can check this checkbox and provide the purchase order hold liaison, so that in case that liaison or that condition has not maintained, the purchase order will be put in hold. The same case applies to payment hold. You can hold invoices from getting paid if you check these check boxes based on the conditions that or the requirement that you have gathered from the client. So that is on the update, quick update. We call this quick update. If you see on my left, I have some tabs or some links to open some of these pages, and the one that we are viewing right now is quick update and is the first here. So with this, we can be able to, or we have been able to create our supplier, and we can be able to save. Once we click save, it means any information that we had amended here, we have maintained it, or we have stored it in our database. Now it is for you to be able to create a transaction with this supplier Simba. We have to assign it something we call a site. So when you're assigning a site, we usually map supplier site to operating unit. So what we will do right here, we will go under address, this address on your far left, address book. Once you click on address book, you can be able to see we don't have any address. So we usually create the address first, or address book first, so that we can be able to, through it, we assign or we use it to create the site. Let me show you what I'm trying to say. You click on create, and the system will open the create address confirm details page. So in our case, we will not use US or United States. We are in Kenya. Kenya is in East Africa, for those who have never heard of Kenya. It's a beautiful country. You can visit one time if you get a chance. So here you can provide, you provide the country. Like any other field where we have a asterisk, you're supposed to provide that information. It's mandatory. So in this case, we can say the address is 12.10.200. Then here down, you can provide all other information when you're doing the implementation. But for the purpose of learning, let's just use the mandatory field, or provide data that is required in the mandatory field. Then the rest you can just play with it for the purpose of your practice, for the purpose of your learning. In this case, we have the address name. This address name is the same that will appear in the site, or it will be used as the site name. So in this case, we can use Simba underscore HQ as our address name, and the same case as it will appear as our site name. So in this case, you can also go ahead, because we want to use this supplier site as, or these details of contact details as, for the purpose of purchasing and payment. We will come here and select these checkboxes. For purchasing, this is for the purpose of making sure that this supplier, you can use this supplier to purchase goods, or you can use them in the purchase module, and be able to purchase good from this supplier. Also, you can do payment to this supplier. So with that, you go ahead and click on continue. Once you click on continue, the system will take you to create address site creation. Just like I had said, this field was empty before, but because we have provided the address, the system has taken the address name as the site name. So what we are supposed to do here is to come and check this checkbox and click on apply. Okay, you are mapping the site to the operating unit. Our operating unit here is Vision Operation. Then you click on apply. Very important. Very important. Okay. So you can see here, Simba HQ has been added to the address book for Simba. And this is the address book. So with this, now you can be able to go ahead and transact with this Simba supplier account. Then, based on the requirement, Another basic requirement that you might find like it has to be maintained, among other details, is the tax details. Here we have tax details. So here, based on the information, how you will agree with the organization or the client you are implementing for, based on their country, you will provide the tax details here. The same you can also provide under tax and reporting. That is one for this, because just for the purpose of learning, we don't have specific company or country that we are implementing for. We will not provide tax detail. The other important point is about banking details. For banking details, you can't do without it. So there are some people who sometimes they don't know how to provide the bank details for supplier, and you find it becomes a challenge when they need to start doing the payment. But this is a standard functionality in the supplier page of bank details. So we have a function here down, whereby you can, here up, you can search the bank details based on the level of assignment. Maybe it's under site, or maybe it's under address, it's under supplier name. Okay, so in our case, we would like to search under site. See whether we'll be able to get. Seems like there isn't. Under site, then under supplier. Let's see. Under supplier there isn't, because we had already searched. But in case you want to search for bank details, don't, if you land here and you see there's no results found, don't just conclude that there is no bank details. Come and check under either site or supplier. Then you click, you provide the site name, then you click on go, and if now you find like there isn't, that one, now you can go ahead and create bank details under that supplier. So in this case, we have an option to add and to create. Then you can create on add if there is bank details that you want, you know they are existing, and you just want to use them under the same supplier. But if you know they are not existing, you can, most cases you'll find we don't go with this option. We usually create, because most times you'll find the bank details are unique to each and every supplier. So you'll end up creating them. You click on create, and you'll be taken to the create bank page. Here, you are supposed to provide the mandatory field, and the first mandatory field is the country. In our case, we are using Kenya. Okay. Under Kenya, then you must provide bank and bank branch before you provide a bank account number and probably bank account name. The reason being, when we are maintaining banks and bank branches are maintained under the same table in the database as in cash management. So you'll find you cannot create a branch, not even a branch. Let's go to the account. The goal or the most referred feature is the account number when it comes to transaction. But you cannot maintain the account number without branch and without a bank. Why? Because it's under the branch whereby we maintain the bank accounts. You don't go to the main bank headquarters to open the bank account. But you'll find normally how banks work is that the headquarter has several branches. So those branches is where the customer to those bank, or let's say for instance, in our case, supplier like Simba, will go and open a bank account. So there must be a branch existing first, and for the branch to exist, there must be a bank. So these are features or essentials that has to be there for you to maintain a bank account. So in cash management, we usually create bank first, then we create bank branch, then we create bank account number under bank branch. So in this case, what we have is we have an option to select an existing bank if we know very well it's existing. And it's good to search very carefully before creating a new bank or another bank, whereas you have not checked whether there is an existing bank, because you'll find your excuse me, you're making your database to be untidy, because you'll duplicate a bank that is already there and you could have just selected it. So it's very important you first of all check whether it's existing. For instance, I had created Kenya Commercial Bank. Okay, I'm now searching under select existing bank. So if I come straight and create another new bank under Kenya Commercial Bank, I will have duplicated a same bank twice. It's a gap that is there whereby the system doesn't restrict you from creating an existing bank. So that's a gap that is there when it comes to the efficiency in the system. But it's good that I am mentioning it so that you can be able to avoid it in future. But for instance, if we want, like for instance, we want maybe to create a new bank. If you select create a new bank, you'll see here you have to provide the bank name. Okay. Once you provide bank name, for instance, let's say Family Bank. Okay. Then you'll need to, if you know there is, for instance, branches can be shared. There can be a Family Bank branch at the same place whereby we have Kenya Commercial Bank. I mean Kenya Commercial Bank branch. What do I mean? You might find like two banks are sharing same branch name. For instance, we can have Moi Avenue. Okay, we can have Moi Avenue. You see, like for instance, this is Moi Avenue, but it is under Kenya Commercial Bank. Okay, it is under Kenya Commercial Bank. So if we happen to select it here, it might bring some kind of confusion, because under it, it's Kenya Commercial Bank and not Family Bank. So that's also a gap. So the most important thing is to, you see now, if I select it here, it's changing the bank name here to Kenya Commercial Bank instead of maintaining it as Family Bank. We want Family Bank, but the system, because we have selected existing branch, it's giving, it's changing the bank name to Family Bank. I mean to Kenya Commercial Bank. So let's create an existing, a new one. For instance, at the same area, which is Moi Avenue. But now this is Moi Avenue. This is Family Bank, Moi Avenue. Okay. So the rest are not mandatory. You can just select based on the requirement. Then account, we can say 120, sorry, 120, 23,987,601. That is the account number. Then account name is Simba Limited. Remember, this bank account number is for Simba. Okay. Once you have provided that, you can come and click on apply. The combination of branch name and branch number already exists for this bank. So you see now this name, it's being rejected. Please check whether this branch has already been set up for all. The branch name and number is valid. So what the system is saying is that there is the branch name and branch number already exist. So with that, what we can do, we can just change the branch name and call it Moy Street. Click on apply. So with that, you see it has accepted. Click OK. The system is telling you the bank account is created but not yet assigned to the supplier. Save the supplier page now in order to assign it to the bank account. I mean in order to assign this bank account to the supplier. Click OK. And click save. There is something. This has changed. This is where the reason why we were getting that error. I didn't notice, but it's fine. So we have been able to click or to create the supplier, and we have been able to create supplier bank details. So we can save again. If you want to do an update for the bank details, you will come and search it here. Then you click on this icon, which is update. So we have created our supplier, who is Simba. Let's go to the Oracle invoice workbench and see whether we can be able to see that supplier. So this is, for those who have not used the invoice workbench, this is where we use now the supplier to do the recording of for the purpose of recording invoices. So I can see it has been set to use the invoice batches. So if you happen to open let me teach you something small, although this is not about invoices I'm teaching. If you happen to come and open invoices, okay, invoices, you'll open the invoice workbench and you find like there's no any active field. It means like the settings that have been done is that you're supposed to create invoice from the invoice batches. And that's why I've opened the invoice batches, and you can see now the page is a bit active. The system is a bit slow. Let's give it time. So you can see the invoice workbench, you cannot edit, you cannot provide any information here. That's how it's grayed out. But if you come here and you open invoice batches, see now we have a field here whereby we can be able to type or to key in some data. Test Simba. Let's give the batch name for this test as test Simba and click on invoices. Now it will open the invoice workbench again. See, now the invoice workbench has opened and it's active. The orange fields that you can see here, it's where we provide the data. Okay, so let's see whether we can be able to get our supplier, who is Simba, and the supplier number was 95. You key in 95 and tab. There it goes. So we created our supplier successfully, and we can be able to book an invoice now and proceed to pay the invoice. So that's how we create a supplier. I hope you have enjoyed this training, and hope you'll practice and continue learning as we continue to provide more learning materials in this amazing field of business system management. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye.